Ladies and gentlemen, this is your boy once again, Crispy Daniels, back at it on another episode of Show and Talk. So, as y'all know, we've been talking about Beyond Belief, the classic show from 1997. This is episode two, season two. So, this one right here, it was all right. You know, every story in this episode, most of the stories had a twist. You know what I'm saying? Um, well, hell, pretty much all of them, except maybe for one. But this one, with the exception of the fourth story, was it was okay. You know, it wasn't as good as the last episode, but this one, we're going to talk about it and we're going to see what y'all think. So, without further ado, let's get into story number one. So, story number one is called Firestation 32. It's about this little kid who wants to be a firefighter. And every so often he comes to the station to visit, this guy. I guess he's been raised around. I'm not sure if the kid was adopted or what, because you never see his parents, at all in this story. You know what I'm saying? So, he's hanging around the fire station talking about how much he wants to be a firefighter. And they have a new captain. And this dude, I forgot what his name is, but I swear this dude, he plays in everything. He's either a cop, FBI agent, or FBI agent, or something like that. You know what I'm saying? I believe this dude. No, never mind. I'm tripping. He wasn't in that, but it was a show I was about to bring up, but nah, he wasn't in it. But this dude, he was in a lot of stuff back in the day. But anyway, again, the kid wants to be a firefighter. So, um, on his way home, he's doing the sound, like whistling or imitating the alarm sounds while he's riding his bike, and then he looks over and he sees his house on fire. So instead of alerting, you know, his buddy at the fire station, he decides to go ahead and go into the house himself to try to save everybody. But we cut back to the guy at the fire station. I guess he's packing everything away, putting everything away, and the kid comes out of nowhere. He's all charred and everything, and then he's telling the guy that there's a house on fire. So instantly, because he knows this kid really wants to be a firefighter, he knows he's telling the truth. So the captain comes out of the office, and at first he's skeptical because he thinks the kid's playing a prank. You know what I mean? Due to the fact that he's just hanging around the station or whatever. But because he's a kid, in fact. But so the captain is convinced that there's a fire, but still a little skeptical. So he lets the guy go ahead and go, check it out. And so when he gets into the truck, because you think the kid ran off, but he ended up in the truck next to the guy. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't supposed to be in there to begin with, but at that point, in that circumstance, the guy didn't care. They was just trying to get to the house to put out the fire. So when they get there, at the kid's assistance, he tells the guy to pull the no, the guy tells the kid to pull the lever or whatever to start the water. And so the guy runs into the house, putting the fire out, and they rescue a bunch of people. And so he's talking to the kid, thanking him for everything he did, and whatever, whatever. So when the guy walks away to go check out, because one of his coworkers come up to him, what I'm saying, and tells him that there was one more person pulled out the house, and he's not about to like what he's gonna see. You know what I'm saying? So the guy walks over to the body that they pulled out of the house. And so if you look at the little kid closely, you see that his smile fades completely. And so when they pull the sheet back or whatever, or when they zip the bag, sure enough, it's the kid. Or pull the sheet back, it's the kid. You know what I'm saying? He was dead the whole time. So the guy just, he's in denial because it's a shocker to him. And so he looks over and the kid's no longer sitting on the fire truck. He disappeared completely. So basically, what happened was the kid wanted to do one real job before he completely passed away or before he ascended. You know what I'm saying? So to me, this story it's a good start. You know what I'm saying for this episode. I give it a I give it a 7 out of 10. It was pretty good. But our next story is called The Computer. And this one, it's your typical babysitter coming over to babysit while the parents go out for the night. And what do they say? Now this reminded me of a brain fart that I heard a while ago, right? So you got the babysitter, teenager, preferably playing, the grown up, while the grown ups are playing teenagers. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, the two parents they're about to go out for the night, and so the babysitter comes over, and she has a midterm she has to do. So while she's babysitting, she has a chance to get that done while the parents is out. So the parents show up at the little club, and then as the dad is reaching in the back seat to grab his wife's the dad as the husband is reaching in the back seat to get his wife's jacket, he notices that the girl left the computer in the back seat. So instead of just going in, they decide to go ahead and try to call her to let her know that she left the computer, but there was no answer. So instead, they decide to drive all the way back to the house to let her know, hey, it's some good people, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times they not gonna really they just gonna be like, fuck that, you know what I'm saying? She left it. But anyway, they go back to the house, and when they get there, they see from the outside that the house is trashed. So when they walk in, the husband tells the wife to stay in the car and call the cops. And he goes in to investigate. And the first thing he sees is the girl tied up in the chair. But the baby's fine. You know what I'm saying? So he frees her from her restraints. And she's panicking because she's not worried about herself. She was mainly worried about the baby. And so the wife walks in after calling the cops. And out of nowhere, some dude just run from down the stairs outside of the house. Which obviously that's the dude that robbed the house. And so, lucky for her, the guy wasn't there, to harm nobody. He just wanted what they had. And so, obviously, the guy got caught halfway down the street because in the next scene, you see him getting arrested. And everything, turns out all right, which is another happy ending. But to me, the story wasn't really all that great. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Even, the bag that was in the back seat, which really wasn't there because the girl, she had her computer the whole time. She even showed it to the parents. And they was looking at each other like, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? And so the story ends, you know, like I said, with a happy ending. Dude getting arrested, everybody's all right. But I give this one a 5 out of 10. I wasn't really invested in this one too much. It was all right for what it was at the time. But if you watch it, it depends. You might like it, you might not. I didn't really care too much for it. Moving on. Story number 3. The Girl Next Door. So in this story, the dude, he's supposed to be a player, right? And he's talking to all these women. He has relationships with all these females. And to me, he looks like a dickhead. I ain't even on front. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's just like a straight asshole. I ain't like him. You know what I'm saying? So, again, he's a player. He's on the phone making plans with multiple women to do this and that. And one woman shows up at his house. And this woman immediately caught his attention. Her name was Florence. Now, to me, she looked kind of like old girl that played Hillary off of Fresh Prince. Just a little bit. I don't know if anybody else noticed that or is it just me. But, she comes over to introduce herself. And the guy is immediate. You know what I'm saying? He's immediate with it. he tries to flirt with her and all of that. And then out of the blue, he asks her if she available for dinner that night. You know, he's a cook and he's trying to convince her to come over just so he can kick his game. You know what I'm saying? So she does come over that night and they do have dinner. And after that, he tries to push up on her, but she wasn't feeling it at first. So she tells him she has to go home and she'll see him again or whatever. And so he offers to walk her, home back across the street. But she said she reminded him that she stayed across the street. So a few days later, or maybe a few weeks, I don't know how much time passed, but you see them doing just different things. You know what I'm saying? Hanging out, taking walks together, and all of this. And so one night when she's over at his house, this part right here, this is what made this dude a fucking idiot. I mean, I've never cursed at any of these Beyond Belief videos, but this story right here, this guy was just a straight up dumbass. You know what I'm saying? So what happened was he was on the phone making plans with another female while she's in the living room reading a magazine. But he didn't realize how close to the door, how close, within earshot she was. So she heard everything he's saying while he was on the phone with this other broad. And then when he got off the phone, because she was standing by the door, she decided to get up, just to catch him, just so he could see how fucking stupid he was. So when he got off the phone, he turns around and sees her standing there. And immediately, he tries to explain what's going on. And she wasn't having it. So she ran out, and he practically, lost her. You know what I'm saying? So he regretted it right there on the spot. He regret what he did. You know what I'm saying? Now, before I continue, I have to talk about this part because I feel like this dude was getting reckless. Like he was talking to so many women that he just started getting reckless and sloppy with it. So I don't condone cheating. I really don't. You know what I'm saying? But if you're going to go that route, make sure the woman or the guy is gone. You know what I'm saying? If you're a woman, make sure they're gone to do what you want to do something like that, to be on the phone making plans with somebody else. This stupid ass did it while she was right there within earshot. But anyway, the next day he goes over to her house. He's knocking on the door, trying to get her to come to the door. But it turns out she don't live there. The guy, his name was Curtis, by the way. He started talking to the groundskeeper or whatever that was raking the leaves outside of their house, and he informed him that there was no woman living there. No woman named Florence living there. You know what I'm saying? It was a pastor, I guess, living there by himself for the last 25 years. So he was mystified by this, like, huh? But then he looks over and he sees her at this church. So he tries to catch up with her. And by the time he gets to the church, like in the courtyard area, he don't see her. He doesn't see her no more. You know what I'm saying? And so he looks over and sees this tombstone with her name on it. From 1924 to 1949. She died at 49. So this woman was pretty much dead the whole time. So my thoughts about this story was she was a weeping ghost or spirit or whatever, trying to find, the right relationship. And I feel like if she accomplished that, she was able to stay on Earth a little longer. This is like my theories. You know what I'm saying? I know it's a little out there, but this is just what I concluded from this story. You know what I'm saying? So as soon as he did what he did, she couldn't be on this earth anymore until she found the next one, I guess. Like I said, that's me. Don't judge me. But anyway, that story for me, just because he was stupid, you know what I'm saying? I give that story a 10. Nah, I don't think so, man. This story for me gets a 3. Because he was so stupid, you know what I mean, for what he was doing. Anyway, moving on to the next story. Now, this story right here, this is the one I was talking about. It was kind of boring to me. I didn't really care for it. I paid attention to it, but I found myself looking at my phone multiple times. And the story is called The Wallet. You know what I'm saying? So it's about this orphan kid, right? His parents, they had no money. I guess his foster parents, they didn't have any money to send him to college, and so he was trying to get on through a scholarship because he played football and all that. And every day after school, he had cut through this path just to practice with his friend or whatever. And so while they was throwing the ball back and forth, practicing passes, he looks down and he sees this wallet. And so he picks it up, he goes through it to see who it belongs to, address and everything. And then, him and his friend part ways. At first his friend was telling him, not to take the wallet back to the house because I guess he was suggesting to him that they probably think he stole it since there wasn't no money in it. And so he wasn't trying to listen, so he decides to go to the address anyway. And it turns out it was this like big ass mansion. And so he goes up to the door, he knocks on the door, and the butler comes to the door and he tells the boy to come in. And so instead of getting the guy that the boy was looking for, he got the guy's lawyer. You know what I'm saying? And so the lawyer brings him to the living room, tells him to sit down, and the lawyer starts questioning him like it was an interrogation. So the lawyer was just asking him, like, you know, where did you find the wallet? Who put you up to it? You know what I'm saying? Just like crazy random questions. And the boy, he just said, all I wanted to do is return the wallet. That's it. You know what I'm saying? That's it. And so the guy was apparently freaking him out. So he got up. He was about to leave, but he bumped into this table with a bunch of pictures on it. And he turns around and he sees somebody who looks exactly like himself. You know what I'm saying? In every single photo. And then he's even more freaked out and he winds up running out the house. You know what I'm saying? So it turns out that the wallet he found belonged to a guy that was dead for like 2 years. And the attorney was trying to find, you know, the next heir to his fortune. It was a $40 million fortune. So off screen, we know that the boy probably inherited all that. You know what I'm saying? But he was just talking to the butler, trying to figure out where he could find the boy, and the butler was telling him um, based on the colors of his jacket, he goes to the local high school. You know what I'm saying? But again, this story gets a zero for me because I thought it was boring. I didn't like it. Period. I did not like this story whatsoever. Like I said, I was looking down at my phone, looking at the time, looking at Facebook, Instagram. Yeah, it was boring, man. I didn't really like it too much. I mean, I paid attention here and there, just enough to explain this to y'all. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, the story for me gets a zero. So our last story is called The Woods. It's about this family who goes camping, and the little boy. Now, apparently, he likes doing stuff on his own because he wasn't really too interested, you know, helping his parents set up. So he decides to go off and do his own thing. And he has this jar with him, collecting worms and stuff like that. And back at the camp, the boy's mother was a little worried, because he went too far out. But the dad, he wasn't really too worried about it because he knows that the boy, he has a little experience on doing things on his own. You know what I'm saying? I'm assuming he's outside a lot, but the dad wasn't too worried about it because he was trying to clap some cheeks. You know what I'm saying? But the mother, she wasn't having it. You know what I'm saying? She wanted to know where her son was. So eventually, the husband, he gave up, and so he went to go look for the boy, him and the wife. And so they're walking around the woods calling his name, and then the boy, he gets bit by this rattlesnake. Now, the one thing about this story that kind of gave me a headache a little bit, headache. I know he's a kid. Don't get me wrong, he's a kid. But even as a child, you got common sense to know you don't mess with snakes. You know what I'm saying? The snake was sticking his tongue out, poking his tongue out, and rattling. Because if I'm not mistaken, rattlesnakes, when they start rattling, they're warning you to stay away. So the boy starts poking the snake with a stick. And apparently he didn't know that, but he starts poking the snake with a stick. And then just out of nowhere, without warning, without any more warning, the snake bites him. And he fought. Now, I gotta say, this story has some great acting because when the kid fell to the ground, he was screaming like he was dying. You know what I mean? And out of nowhere, next to him, this guy in a wheelchair appears. And so he basically helps the boy, suck the poison out of the wound of his hand. You know what I'm saying? So when the boy gets the suction cup or whatever, because he puts pressure on it, he applies pressure. You know what I'm saying? And then he takes the suction cup, the tube, and he starts, sucking the venom out of his hand. You know what I'm saying? Through the tube. And when he got done doing that, he looks up and the guy disappears. Now, one thing I do want to question, if I was in that situation, I got bit by a snake. You wasn't there at first, and then you just appeared next to me. You're a guy in the middle of the woods in a wheelchair, chilling. You can't move your arms. You can't move your legs. You can't move nothing but your head. But somehow you appeared next to me. Of course, I'm going to question it. Now, again, I know he's a kid. But still, me as a kid, I would question that. You know what I'm saying? Because later on, when the parents, find their child, the ENT guy, he hears that the kid was helped by some guy in a wheelchair, and that immediately got his attention. And so when the kid explained what happened, the parents were confused, and they asked about the guy in the wheelchair. So the ENT dude told the parents that it was some local town guy whose dreams it was to become a local doctor. And so he went off, to get his doctorate and everything. And he came back, or he went off to get, his certification and everything. And he came back to the small town. You know what I'm saying? And, before he was able to practice, he died. You know what I'm saying? So I think he had got into a car. I forgot what happened, but it was some kind of accident or something. He was paralyzed from the neck down, so he couldn't move anything, and he wound up dying. You know what I'm saying? So the kid, if you look at him, he wasn't really like, confused like the parents were. And so apparently, every time something happens to somebody out there in those particular woods, the guy will appear next to you and help you out. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so he was supposed to be a ghost. And for me, I had to give this story a 7. It was pretty decent. It was probably one of the best ones of this episode. I probably say it was the best story, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? But still, I can't get over the snake thing. But anyway, that's it for episode 2, season 2. You know what I'm saying? What y'all think about that one? If you haven't seen it, I recommend you watching it. Now, like I said, the 4th story might bore you a little bit. I can't tell you. You just got to watch it for yourself. But once again, the episode overall gets 6 for me. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't as good as the first, like I was saying before, but it was okay. So that's pretty much it, y'all. And if you're watching this on YouTube, give me a like, comment, and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate you. All right? I'm out of here. Peace.
The feeling is mutual. Come in, take a seat, share your thoughts with each, and preach it when you speak, so we can share kinetic energy throughout the brainwaves to keep us balanced out and all on the same thing.